Hi, my name is Matt Moore. I'm married to Crystal Moore, my beautiful bride of almost 12 years. When we first found out we were pregnant, we were extremely excited, and what made us excited was we had been trying for 3.5 years to have a child and going through infertility issues. That being said, that excitement quickly became sadness because my wife had a miscarriage. And we went through another year and a half of just troubling times of trying to get pregnant and going to infertility doctors. The second time my wife got pregnant, she had an ectopic pregnancy, and they had to remove my wife's one good tube. When they removed the tube, they basically told us we could not get pregnant unless we did in vitro fertilization. At the time, we weren't willing to do it. So 2 months went by. And it was a tough 2 months, but I remember meeting my wife at Submarina for lunch, and when we met that day for lunch, she came to me and said, "Hey, I'm pregnant," and we were extremely excited. So we went through the next 9 months just eagerly anticipating our beautiful daughter, Bella, who is now 4 years old, and it was a joyous time for us. We named her Bella Grace, and the reason we chose that name was for beautiful grace and the beautiful undeserved favor that we were given by God to have her. Bella is an extreme gift to us, and we're beyond excited to have her. It hit me one day when when I was reading through Romans. I'm reading Romans 8. There's a text. Romans 8:18 says, Paul says, "For I consider the sufferings of this present age not worth comparing to the glory that is to be revealed to us." And it makes me think of my daughter and think, we went through so much suffering, so many trials, so much tribulation before we had her, and to think, wow, that's just not worth comparing to who she is and having her in our life. And it makes me think how much greater heaven's going to be. So I tell people we have a small sliver of heaven here on earth with Bella, because it points us to, no matter what we're going through, what trials we're going through, what suffering we're going through, heaven's going to be worth it, and that glory is going to be great. Well, it's actually in her name. The word grace, just thinking about God's grace and the grace God's shown us. And in order to understand God's grace, we have to understand His righteousness and our sinfulness, and how we are so undeserving of Him, and that He would send His Son to be sin for us so that we could have His righteousness. That's where I'd spend, that's where I have been and plan on spending my time, starting and ending with in God's character. I read a book a few years ago called "What He Must Be to Marry My Daughter." I had a friend give it to me when we had Bella, and really reading it made me realize, wow, I'm not these things for my wife. So the one thing I tell prospective fathers is to love your wife and show your children the love you have for your wife and the love you have for God. Those are the things that stand at the forefront. Your kids will cherish that, they'll love it, and it's a great example to them what they should be looking for in a spouse one day. And I've yet to find somebody that loves their spouse and loves their Lord, and it doesn't reflect in their children. I think the biggest fear I had being a dad was going, especially when I found out we were having a girl, was, wow, I got to be the provider, I got to be the protector, and I got to be the example. And so really leaning on all the years that I was prepared by my parents to be that, going, I've got to prepare my daughter the same way, and I need to be in the Word, I need to be depending on God for the strength to do it. So those are, that was my biggest fear, is just, I can't quit my job now. I can't I can't be lazy, and I can't be lazy in my walk, and I can't be lazy at work. I gotta provide for my family, and I gotta pay the bills. I gotta, that kind of stuff. Just sometimes I let the stress get to me, but that was my biggest concern. I think is, I know the wicked parts of my soul, so knowing that I need to take my walk seriously, my call to righteousness seriously, and my call to be a father, husband, and leader seriously.